Let's jump in, Larry. Part one. Basically, we just love to have you give an update on TSI today. The company continues to grow and evolve and move into new and different markets. I think many in the United States look at TSI as a dietary supplement company, but it's way more than that. And so we'd love to get an update on the many things that TSI is doing right now.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks again, Loren, for affording this opportunity to give you this update. We had our 25th anniversary last year. So this is our 26th year that Joe and I came together and formed a business plan on the back of a napkin and decided to start our own company. Back in those days, we were very different than we are today. We started the business to take advantage of boots on the ground in China. Joe and his team set up an analytical lab in China, and I kind of shielded the sales and marketing side of the business over here, primarily in the US, North America. And we started the business based on quality and integrity and authenticity of ingredients. And so we've had that mantra from day one. We've always taken our customers and consumers and the ingredients that we touch, if you will, whether it's in the early days we sourced our ingredients and today we manufacture our ingredients. Quality, fundamental quality, supply chain integrity, and complete and comprehensive testing has been really what we stand for. It's what we started the business, how we started the business 26 years ago, and that theme is throughout all the divisions in the company that exists today. We, as I mentioned, we are now more of a manufacturer than a sourcing entity. We have 6 manufacturing sites, primarily in China, 6 offices globally. These are direct sales offices, our own offices. We operate in over 34 countries now, and we have 600 employees. And we have 3 divisions that are global divisions. Innovative Products Division happens to be the division that I head up globally. And through some of the recent acquisitions, we have some very good expertise and capabilities in research. So my division is actually mining and discovering new ingredients. The Metabolic Technologies acquisition was really good because that brought in PhDs and scientists and the whole infrastructure to do this kind of work. And the Metabolic Technologies team invented, if you will, discovered HMB. And that's become under the My HMB brand, it's become quite a global success for us. And it's opening up new frontiers in muscle health beyond sports nutrition. And so we're really focused on that new, what we see as a brand new consumer health category. And it's paid a lot of dividends for the business, both from the way we've grown the business with this ingredient and where we're going in the future. The other division is bioactive ingredients, and the 2 ingredients that are the superstars in that division are glucosamine. It's a glucosamine or glucosagreen branded glucosamine. And then we also have PureFlex chondroitin sulfate. These are real older brands that we've continued to innovate from a process standpoint and value standpoint to our consumers and our customers. We offer a lot of different services behind these ingredients to make the tablet smaller through granulation or calcination or densification. Closing down the supply chain, doing comprehensive testing has really enabled us to become one of the top 3 manufacturers in the world on both of those 2 ingredients. The third division is Contract Manufacturing Division, and we do turnkey tablet, capsule, powdered manufacturing globally again. And we have a lot of business in the Pacific Rim in this division and also in Europe. And this division also has a tremendous amount of innovation attached to it, where we're coming out with brand new delivery vehicles, if you will, that really help the consumer experience in consumption, whether it's a much smaller tablet or a very unique type of powdered formulation, effervescence. These kind of things are new deliveries that we're introducing to customer brands around the world. So I can see an evolution from just basic tablet and capsule manufacturing in this division to really more of an experiential, innovative slant on how we deliver these turnkey ingredients, blends, and finished format. Joe might want to touch on the fourth. I guess it's an emerging division that is more of a personalization on technology and a personalized nutritional approach to the supplement business. So that's really in a nutshell, what we're doing today in our breadth in terms of where we're reaching the market, and the basically the 3 plus the emerging fourth operating divisions in the company.
Well, first, congratulations on hitting that 25-year anniversary mark. That itself is an achievement in any industry. And as I have known TSI over the years, it's been remarkable to watch the growth, progress, the vision that has really helped form the company as you've just described it to us. And I'm sure many that will be watching this will appreciate TSI as a far larger and more diverse company than they imagined. And that brings opportunities for all sides, which we hope will be one of the good outcomes of people having a chance to catch up with TSI today. So thank you, Larry, for that. And Joe, just so people know how to say your name. Where are you coming to us from, Joe? Are you in the US or China right now?
I'm in Shanghai, China.
Okay.
I've been here since 2000, the March of 2000. I have not been left China. This is like a record for me. I used to travel 6 times out of China, 6 months of the year, and out of China every year. So this is, I'm in China for the last 2.5 years.
Well, I think we're all in the same boat. I have not been to China for the last 3 years, and I think, Larry, you too. We're all kind of stuck where we are.
That's right.
But that makes it really interesting and a great opportunity, Joe, to have you give us some insights of China on the ground today. The country is certainly evolving and changing, as is the world scene. So we just love to get a sense from you of how is business and how are you managing the challenges you face as one who is really there on the ground?
Sure. I think COVID really changed the whole entire industry quite dramatically in the last, I think, almost now 2.5 years, right? So let's talk about, I think in the last 2.5 years, really, I think the driving force is really COVID, okay? And I can talk about a couple other things later. And obviously, and in the first 1.5 years, I think because China's government's policy and a restriction on the movements and restriction on the people's from overseas. So China has managed the COVID case quite successfully. So China is kind of escaped the COVID, and when the rest of the world and see cases, tremendous number of cases around the world, right? And at that time, for the first 1.5 years, really China, from a production standpoint, from a manufacturing standpoint, and supply chain within China is quite solid. The problem we're facing is really the disruption of shipment and the freight, right? The disruptions in the major ports in the US, in Europe, in Australia, and where we do businesses, right? So there's a tremendous delays to ship products over there. Okay, so the time and could be doubled and sometimes tripled, and so this caused quite a big lead time at our customer ends. So that's quite difficult. Also, and I think that the cost, because limitation of the capacity of shipping is the cost, both ocean shipment and air shipment is tripled, quadrupled, and during that period of time.
Yeah.
So that is the first part of first year and a half. Then obviously, and towards the third and fourth quarter of last year, China all of a sudden had a problem with their energy shortage, and there's a huge disruption internally, and doing the production of products over in China. So all of a sudden the costs in China increased dramatically, and the utility costs, raw material costs, as well as internal shipping costs, and increase and drastically, right? So then it's getting a little better towards the end of last year and the first quarter of this year. Then obviously, I think everybody know, and China had a major lockdown. Shanghai had a major lockdown, right? So Shanghai's lockdown is unprecedented. Never happened in Shanghai's history. So it's 25 million people, and the government decided to lock down the whole city within a week. So within a week, the whole city went quiet, complete quiet. So this and really create a huge supply chain issue within China, right? And because Shanghai is the largest port in the world, right? And the shipment in and out of Shanghai is kind of stopped, right? So also the nearby provinces and where our facility is located, and all being affected by shipping the raw materials over there and shipping the goods out. And also we use some of the imported raw material is delayed like forever. So those are the things really causing a huge disruption, and not only for us, and I think for the whole industry. I think so overall in the until now, I think is not really fully recovered. And because of China's policy, zero COVID policy, and so there's a great uncertainty, because once they see some positive cases, the government will shut down areas, sometimes a district, sometimes a village, sometimes there's a whole city, and just we speak, and I saw the announcement, and Xi'an will shut down for 7 days. So starting like today. So because they just found some cases. So the whole supply chain, whole environment, and filled with uncertainty. And because of those uncertainties, and create a lot of the problems for the supply chain, the problems for the manufacturing facilities, as well as the problems for the international shipments, right? So those are all the problems. And obviously let's talk about a little bit prior to COVID, and Loren, you mentioned about the environmental impact and the regulations. I think it was this new government and the President Xi, right, and who is in power now almost 10 years, and I think this is the 10th year, and he's in power, and once he got into the office, and I think he really put a very strict environmental regulations and in place. So as wave by wave every year, and they just more conditions, more restrictions on the environmental compliance, and sometimes is much more a how do you say, it's not really a scientific base, it's much more just a policy based. So it's really, and put a lot of pressure on the facilities, like we're operating several facilities in China, and you will see waves and waves of government inspections pretty much on a weekly basis. And from a different level of government, and from central government, from provincial government, from local government. So they just come in and wave by wave, right? And also because the local government worried about central government's inspection, and they want to stop production, just avoiding those kind of just the possible problems they can find. So this is quite a disruption as well. And also the cost of compliance is every year you have to invest quite a lot of money and into the facility to upgrade. And some of them are necessary. Some of them I don't believe it's really necessary, because I think they're a little bit too much. So it's not reasonable.
Joe, tell me, with all of this going on, what's your sense of the future as we go forward? The world is still dealing with COVID. We've seen even this summer, boy, everybody it seems is getting COVID the second and sometimes third times. With China's zero tolerance policy, which I assume they intend to keep in place. How do you see the same kinds of challenges that you described as we look to the future? How long will we be dealing with this, do you think?
Over the last 2.5 years, I'm always thinking this thing is going to be better next year. So I already hoped for 3 times, right? Seems to me every time is kind of disappointment, right? So obviously, as long as the Chinese government's policy of zero tolerance, COVID tolerance is in place. And as we know, and the COVID is very, and zero COVID is very, very difficult, right? And the nature of this virus is very, very difficult, okay? So if this is in place, and I will see there's a uncertainty, in terms of production, supply chain, and all those things, and for a while. And I don't see the end of this COVID pandemic, or whatever you call it, right? Is going to end, right? One day. I think this is going to be with us for a long time. And I think unless the Chinese government is going to change this policy, which I see some signs of changing, because they already see the tremendous economic impact on their zero COVID policy, and especially in the last 3 months and the total lockdown of Shanghai. And you see the negative growth of China's GDP, and Shanghai and nearby Shanghai, and the GDP is like a double digits in the negative territory, right? So I see there's some change is going to happen, but I don't know, and how complete, how soon they're going to make the change. If this is going to be still in place, I think this is going to last for a little longer. And also, the Ukraine war, right? The Ukraine war right now, and the energy, all the other things happened. And I think create and the price is going up. Obviously, the inflation in China is not as more than I think the U.S. had experienced a huge inflation. In the U.S., China a bit less, but I think because also the same, then the Chinese currency is a little bit right now is depreciated. Okay. As well. So there's a lot of uncertainties with the business, okay? and it's very, very predict and when this thing is going to normal, and I'll going back to the pre-COVID. It may not be, never be, go back to pre-COVID. We don't know.
Yeah. These are very interesting times. In terms of travel, we've seen travel really shut down on a personal level or business level. As you say, and I agree that COVID's here. It's something we're going to have to live with for the future. How do you imagine business travel will be affected? It's almost nothing now. And so as we think about the usual, in the past, companies would send over their own auditors, inspectors. There would be a lot of interaction with trade shows, other opportunities to really get to know the marketplace and see what's going on. If we're not able to do that, it certainly becomes critical to have confidence in your manufacturer and your supplier. If we're not able to get eyeballs or feet into the facilities, even FDA is very limited in what they can do. And I'm imagining that the China FDA has similar problems. So there's going to be a great deal of concern, rightly so, about product quality and integrity. And no one in the US can afford to get a container of material only to have it fail test. It's out of spec. That creates a very big problem because trying to get replacement material is not going to happen for many weeks, possibly months. Having talked to contract manufacturers here in the States, they are as stressed a group of people as I've ever seen. We have growing sales, which is great, but we have these tremendous constraints on the supply chain. So we all know that that has created a very difficult situation. It's probably impossible to predict how long this will change things. So for example, supply side Las Vegas has always been an important place for the Chinese business community to come. I'm imagining this year it will be a very, very small group that will travel over. So from a TSI point of view, as a very trusted company that takes quality and integrity seriously, and you always have, what advice could you offer to consumers and to customers? What is the best way to really check the quality and to know who you're working with, given these very restricted conditions that we're now working under?
Yeah, I think one. Yeah, go ahead, Harry.
Okay, I'll start. You can add. I think that from our perspective on this issue, it's a huge issue, Loren, because we see a lot of our competitors not performing all of the elements of the quality dossier, if you will, whether that be an NDI or a GRAS affirmation or anything that's tied back to their process. There's a lot of skipping of these critical boxes that need to be checked. Everything that we do at TSI has all of the quality checks in place that goes back to our processes. And as Joe mentioned, our processes are vetted by the authorities, whether they're local, regional, provincial, or the central government, on a continuous basis. We've actually seen a lot of our competitors or just other chemical factories that are underfunded definitely have cut a lot of the corners when it comes to the quality question. They've gone out of business. They've been forced out of business based on this continual evolution of intense quality surveillance in China and by the authorities. So one thing that TSI fortunately has done is we've really focused on our core group of ingredients and factories that we have in China, and we've been able to maintain throughout all of these challenges a relatively consistent and mitigated, if you will, supply chain. We've had our challenges, but we've been able to navigate through all of these uncertainties with our supply chain because of all of our quality systems and everything, and our investments in the factories that we've had to invest over the years. It's kept us in operation. And we see that as a tremendous comfort for the customers that we have around, that we've got their backs, protected on everything that we have in our production lines and our dossiers, et cetera, that are really put up to the test more now than ever.
Mhm.
Yeah, Loren, obviously an on-site audit is almost impossible. And overseas come to China is almost impossible. And even within China is getting very difficult because you don't know. You go to the city, do the inspection. If they have a positive, one case of positive, you maybe stay there for a couple of weeks. You cannot go. So this is the current policy. Obviously, one thing in China, and even with some of our customers overseas, and even the regulatory agent, and they do online audits. Okay, so we have quite a lot of online audits, and within the company with the customers overseas, and as well as the customers within China. Okay, so people get used to know how to do the online audit. Quite skillful. At the beginning, it's kind of difficult, but then I see them, they can conduct like a 1 day or 2 days audit. They go to take the cameras, going to warehouse and the workshop one by one, all the records, all those things. Obviously, you can show them. Also, you can send it to them as well. So this obviously is one of the things you can at least and put a little bit of the comfort in their quality systems, all those things. Another one, obviously, you normally deal with the customers and for a long time, the history. We have long history, right? They know us very well. They know our quality, and also, and we're sending them like a quarterly or half-year reports of quality, all those type of things. So give them the comfort as well. So there's a way to do it. Obviously, it's never been as good as you are going to have a face-to-face, right? But there's a way to do. You obviously you mitigate a little bit of the risk, right? So obviously, then with a new customer, it's going to be, if you don't know them, it's getting a little bit tough, and it's going to be a little bit tough, right? Because a third-party audit is really not really doing much these days. Our frequencies is very, very low. Okay, so to me, I think that this situation at least is going to last for the rest of the year in China. Obviously, the reason is, and there's a major and parties conference, right? Major congress, okay, which will happen sometimes in October. So before October, I don't think that the policy is going to change at all. Zero tolerance code. Maybe implementation a little bit different, but I think overall this is not going to change. And once this major parties congress is over, and the beginning of next year, I may relax a little bit. International travel still restricted, and you can come, but the issue is you have to stay and lock down for 10 days, right? So, and you have to like quarantine yourself, or in a government provided the facility and for 10 days. This is quite a hassle, right? Obviously for people to travel overseas in China, and really right now the government is not really encourage unnecessary international travel outside of China. So I think that this is going to last for a little longer.
I would agree with your prediction, Joe. As you say, let's see what happens at the People's Congress in the fall. I think that's a very important event. Underappreciated here in the United States of the significance that this has. We'll certainly, as news breaks on that front, we'll be informing our friends and colleagues in the industry here of what implications there may or may not be. So I would, wow, I'd just like to thank both you, Larry and Joe, for a very informative discussion. I mean, China is the big topic of the day. We can't make a turn in any direction without facing a China-related challenge or opportunity. And congratulations once again. 25 years of tremendous success, growth, and we look forward to many good years ahead and maintaining our close friendship and cooperation. So with that, thank you both, and I hope to see you soon somewhere. That would be great.
Yes, thank you, Loren.
Thank you, Loren.
Joe.
Thank
Stay
you.
well, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye
Bye-bye.
now.